Hello and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Everything I will discuss in this video is alleged and in my very own opinion, used for entertainment purposes only. Now, guys, we got some MFing shit to get into because Miss Laila Ali has spoken. Like Clarissa Shields is not going to continue to play on her name. So she got some time today to set the record straight. So let me share my screen so we can get right on into it. Okay, here we go.
There has been a whole lot of talk about the possibility of me making a comeback to boxing. And people have had a lot to say, but I have not addressed it until now. And I know everyone wants to know the answer to the question, will I be coming back? And I promise you, I'm going to give you that answer. But first, I have got to address the lies and the fake narrative that's been created years ago. Now, someone's got.
And before we get into this, guys, let me just let you guys know that I will be, stopping the video so that I can give some commentary. So let's get into it.
Gotten way too comfortable dragging my name and even using my father's name to get attention and clout. Now, in case you haven't heard it, her story is that I didn't support her and I didn't pass the torch because of my jealousy and envy over her accomplishments in boxing. She says that I disrespected her and I started talking about knocking her out simply because I was bitter that she's outdone me. I've seen a lot of the comments. Many of you have good discernment and understand what's really going on here, while others have believed her lies over the years or have formed an opinion without having all the facts. Now, originally, I wasn't even going to give this my time or attention because I really don't engage with people who thrive off of negativity, drama, and buffoonery. But I'm not about to let someone.
Now, Layla, we know you're a very classy lady, you beautiful, you professional, you all that, but sometimes you gotta let a nigga know, okay? Sometimes you gotta call a bitch out.
Someone with bad character continue running freely, dragging my name without accountability.
That's not gonna happen.
Come on now, listen. Layla Ali is just Muhammad Ali's daughter. And
No, come on, we ain't gonna do
no,
that.
that is right.
Come on, Layla can rumble though.
And Wolf would have knocked Layla Ali out. You know, she would have knocked Layla oh so pretty ass out.
So this right here is the consequence.
Did y'all hear that? Layla, oh so pretty ass. That sounds like a lot of goddamn hate to me. Like, you mad? Cause she a boxer and she could beat you? And she pretty? That's why you mad?
Now, I have been busy working on other projects that required all of my time and focus, which is why I'm just now saying something. But honey, I have made the time to address this. So today, the bad guy ain't getting away. Now let's hit rewind because we really need to see what's happened over the years, what got us here. Now I'm not about to do the whole he say, she say thing, so let me show you some receipts. I first met her in 2012 when she was invited on stage to stand next to me when I gave my father his Liberty Medal. At some point, she reached out, started asking me for advice, wanted to know if she should go to the Olympics the second time or go pro. She would also call me and let me know when she was fighting. Now, at the time, I was one of the hosts of We Need to Talk, an all-female sports commentary show that still airs on CBS. I asked the producers if we could do a story on her. They agreed. So I got on a plane, flew to Colorado, and did a full sit-down interview with her. Now, this is just a shortened version of the 6-minute piece that aired on CBS.
Can you imagine giving somebody the honor of standing on stage with you while you're, acknowledging your dad? And then she got the nerve to turn on you and start coming for you? Okay,
In
Clarissa.
21-year-old Clarissa Shields is as confident as her right hand is powerful. Soon, Clarissa will be heading to Rio for the Olympics to try and do something that has never been done before. I sat down to talk with her about changing history and being a positive spark for her hometown.
You should have heard the story by now. The one about a kid from Flint, Michigan who has gone toe-to-toe with adversity and stands undefeated.
But I'll always go back to Flint and help.
I know that when I was fighting, any of my struggles that I had to overcome, or anything that I was upset about, whether it be something personal or something going on in the world, I would use that anger, and take it into the ring with me and channel that energy into the ring. Have you ever done that?
I did that a lot. I was going through stuff back at home, but I would have a boxing match, and I would take out everything I was going through on the girl, and that kind of helped me, because after I boxed, that was my ultimate high, and I felt like my life was perfect for at least 2 weeks. So
Clarissa's father, a former underground fighter, was passionate about boxing.
he went on to tell me that Muhammad Ali's daughter, Laila, took after him. And he's like, and my dad, he says to this day, Layla's a bad girl. He says all the time. He said, nobody in our family took up boxing. I thought when he told me that, he was telling me to take after him.
Clarissa beat the odds to win gold in 2012. When the Olympics start in August, she'll try to be the first American boxer to win back-to-back gold medals.
Everybody's going to be fighting you harder. Everybody's going to be trying to elevate their game. They're going to be running hard. They're going to be training hard. They're going to be dreaming about beating you. How are you preparing for that mentally and physically?
Honestly, I've learned how to beat every fighting style. Tall girls, short girls, girls my size. Because I'm like, I'm pretty good, I'm pretty great, I don't know.
You're supposed to feel that way about yourself.
Yeah,
like you wouldn't have been able to get to this level if you didn't feel that way about yourself.
Yes.
I don't know about you ladies, but I have absolutely no doubt that Clarissa's going to win gold again in the Olympics. Women's boxing wasn't even in the Olympics when I was boxing,
right.
So I'm like, do it for us, because she's in the weight class I would have been in. So I'm like, go get it, girl, go get it. There's a lot of women who have been training for a long time, and nobody knows who they are. So the Olympics just really gives them a platform and something to strive towards. I didn't even fight amateur because I was like, I can't go to the Olympics. Why should I do that? I wanted to be in control of my career, but it's so great.
I mean, she literally put this girl up on a platform, just brought her out, gave her advice, did a whole interview, flew to Clarissa to do an interview. And this is how you want to repay her? Okay.
To see these young girls coming up, you got 9-year-olds now and 10-year-olds, and they're inspired by people like Clarissa. Now, as you can see, I was
Hey, CC.
genuinely rooting for her. I gave her praise. I gave her a spotlight.
She was
when she asked for
rooting for
advice,
you.
I gave her valuable branding advice and boxing advice so she could have long-term success in and outside of the ring. I told her about the challenges that I faced fighting at 168, where there was limited competition, and I suggested that if she decided to turn pro, she should consider going down in weight somewhere around 148, where she would have more competitive challenges. I told her she should hire a nutritionist, trim off that excess body fat, and get into elite next level shape.
Yeah, definitely.
I pointed her in the right direction, and I had high hopes for her. Whether she decided to turn pro or not, I felt like her future was bright if she played her cards right. But of course, at the time, I was not aware of her divisive, vindictive, and malicious nature. And I know those are strong words, but they actually fit. This girl has created a pattern. It's been directed towards many people time and time again. Now, before we started our interview in Colorado, she said to me, "You're the name people say when it comes to women's boxing. You're the face they know. I want that to be me." Now, looking back after everything that's unfolded, it seems pretty calculated now. Like she was waiting for the right moment, the right excuse to finally do what she'd already made up her mind to do. I mean, that's how it feels now. She told me she saw me as the face of women's boxing, and she told me that she wanted my spot. And she's been on a mission to ruin my reputation ever since, simply because she heard me make a comment that was not about her and she took it personal. Fast forward to 2018, I was promoting my cookbook, Food for Life, and went on The Breakfast Club, a national show with millions of listeners. I did a 36-minute interview, and when the topic of boxing came up, I actually mentioned her and made positive comments. Then much later into the interview, I was asked about the possibility of a comeback.
You ever get back in the ring just for fun?
You still train?
I stay training.
Got you.
Yeah, I got a little baby six-pack right now.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I have a heavy bag hanging in my, I just turned 40.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
No.
Okay, guys, let me ask you this. Now, this is an older video, so she's obviously older than 40 now. If you were Layla Ali, you done made your mark on the world. Your father, made his mark on the world. You followed in his footsteps. She's beautiful. She's a very successful businesswoman outside of boxing. She's into cooking. I mean, she has so many other things going on outside of boxing. Would you risk getting punched in the head, you know, potentially having dementia, all these health conditions, just to continue to, you know what I'm saying, appease people who want to come for your spot? Like, let's keep it real. Like, at this age, maybe she doesn't want to keep being pounded in her head. Maybe she wants to continue to be beautiful. Maybe she doesn't want to retire with all of those health conditions. Makes sense to me.
No,
Amazing.
I just turned 40. I can't believe it either. And because I think of my healthy lifestyle, the fact that I train all the time, I can pretty much do anything I wanted to. Well, I don't think there's anyone there for me right now that would actually give me a good challenge.
How did you and your husband argue? Because he can't, usually you can say something slick, but with you, you can't say that slickness.
You was on the Food Network's Chopped.
Yes.
And you won.
I did a couple times.
So what brings you more joy, winning in the ring or winning in the kitchen?
I just like to win, period. Definitely boxing is my first love, and, cooking is something that I'm super passionate about.
Gotcha.
It'll be a part of my life forever. I'm not somebody who sits back and complains about things. I think everything happens.
See, the problem is all Clarissa has is boxing. So she has to continue to focus on boxing. But when you have other things going on, like, you don't have to just focus on one thing.
In due time, you got Clarissa Shields now, who's an Olympic champion. She's a young black girl, came out of Flint, Michigan, lived a hard life, went through a lot. She went to the Olympics, won twice. Women's boxing wasn't in the Olympics when I fought. She actually fights at the weight class I fought in. And she's doing great. Women's boxing is getting some good attention. Now remember, at the time, we were on good terms. She was reaching out to me and referring to me as Big Sis. But this was her response.
I watched the Breakfast Club video with Laila Ali. I have so much respect for her. And I like her. I actually call her my big sis, but it was so many shots thrown. Like, if y'all really paid attention, her saying, oh, there's not nobody good enough at 168, my weight class, that could give her a challenge when I'm the number one in my weight class. And, I'm just like, nah. And, I just feel like, she gave props where it's due, but, she also spoke on how, what I'm doing for women's boxing is great, but it's not great enough for her. When it's like, we got two different goals and sets in life. Me winning 2 Olympic gold medals is just the beginning. Even when she was boxing, she never fought on Showtime, HBO. I fought the main event on Showtime. I don't know how many times now. Fastest woman to win a world title. I did it in 4 fights. And yeah, you can say, oh, the competition isn't there, and this girl wasn't that. But like I did it up in 4 fights, and so the girls that Laila Ali fought wasn't, that great either. I mean, like, I'm the best female boxer that I've ever seen, and if Laila Ali wants to come back, we can rumble. We can go.
This girl is really going for a legend. Like, make it make sense, Clarissa.
Oh, this is not like, oh, I'm gonna step away. Like I respect her and everything, but you're not gonna come back and beat me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this can happen. I just don't like the disrespect. And this is my last video too about this. I never used her name to try to be like, try to call her out of retirement. It's basically like she talking about she come out of retirement.
Obviously, this was not her last time speaking on it, and you are definitely using her name for clout.
She just gonna beat me if she decided to.
Now, of course, I didn't respond to this, but I noted it. For someone who hardly had any experience as a professional boxer and who was supposedly looking up to me, for her to think that I would even call her name in a conversation about me fighting or making a comeback was silly to me. Especially since I had literally told her that I retired from boxing because I didn't feel inspired or challenged anymore by the level of competition that was available to me. We had that talk. So I learned a lot about her character and her mindset. She took what I said out of context and made it all about her. I decided I was no longer going to invest time or energy into her. But she, on the other hand, she took it straight to social media, started comparing her boxing skills to mine, making negative comments about me, and pitting herself against me in a fight. A year later, I was doing press for my show Homemade Simple on OWN, so I went on Sway Universe, another syndicated national show with millions of listeners. We were talking, he asked me about boxing, he asked me about her, I said positive comments as usual, then he plays one of her visits.
Are you watching women's boxing today?
Oh yeah.
You like Clarissa?
I do. I think that she's a talented fighter, and she has the opportunity right now. The stage is set, so now she just has to kind of do her thing. I
Talk about Homemade Simple, airing Saturdays 9 a.m. on the OWN network. Okay, it's an incredible show. I had Clarissa here, right? I asked her who does she think will win and you against you in your prime and her now. And this is what she said.
She's not cut like me. She don't take the challenges. Like, she didn't fight against Ann Wolf. I fight against the best and beat the best. And if Laila Ali was to come out of retirement, I beat her too.
That's not anything I haven't heard before. First of all, she's supposed to feel like she's the greatest.
Absolutely.
But just because you think you are doesn't mean you are.
Okay.
I like to support and uplift people, and I think that on your way up, just do your best not to disparage those that have come before you. First of all, she could never beat me.
Okay.
Let me just get that straight right now.
You want to get that straight, Laila?
Let's get that straight right now.
Okay.
And not simply because she's not strong enough, okay, because I would definitely knock her out, but because she's not talented enough to beat me. There's a sweet science to boxing. The reason why you have not been able to knock out the opponents that you've already faced, I can totally see it. Why? But maybe if you would have been a little more respectful, and I'm not talking about thinking you can beat me and call it that, do all that. I'm talking about just trying to, she didn't do this, she didn't do that.
Yeah.
I don't respect her as a boxer. I only respect her as a businesswoman. I've heard her say that before. I was always there for her because she's a young black girl from Flint, Michigan.
Yeah,
And I want to help uplift her because that's the Ali way. I am successful in so many areas outside of boxing. Boxing is not what defines me. There's always going to be another girl. But I tell you what, when I offered her to spar me, that definitely was a check right there to see. Let me see what kind of heart she has. You should come whoop me just for bragging rights. And she didn't take me up on that offer. I said, okay. And let's put this in context. I'm only talking about this because you're asking me. She's done a ton of interviews since then, and she's always saying I disrespected her. Now you've seen what she's been referring to. So she felt justified to go on a tirade. And of course, she's twisted the story over the years and taken my comments out of context. Now, according to her, I just started talking about knocking her out just out of jealousy. Now you've seen what I said, what she said, how this started, and you can see she pitted herself against me in a fight. Now, I know some of this younger generation may not be familiar with me, but I've never been one to just talk about things I can't do. When I said that I would knock her out back in 2019, it wasn't any different than what I've said to anyone who's challenged me in the past. You can go back and look at tape on me. That was not just talk for me, it's what I did. TKO, KO, it didn't matter. I was gonna stop you. It wasn't going to a decision. And if you didn't belong in there with me, I was gonna get you out
She better put some respect on Laila Ali's name.
of there. That's just facts. That's not disrespect, that's boxing talk. Back then in 2020, I did get to a point where I was ready to get back in the ring and show her why, even though she is talented, I said it back then and I'm saying it now, but she could never outbox me. High-level promoters did reach out to me directly and we had some serious conversations about me making a comeback. Now, of course, she was never even involved in any of those discussions. Then COVID happened, you know how that was, and it all went away and I left it alone. Now here is just a small glimpse of the narrative that she's been building over the years.
But I feel like Laila Ali has always been kind of envious of me. I'm just so accomplished in women's boxing and she never got that due diligence and that respect.
Did this girl just say Laila Ali is envious of her? Okay with the lies, Clarissa.
So to see me getting it kind of pisses her off. So you look at who she fought, her biggest test was freaking Vonda Ward and Christy Martin. And Christy Martin weighed in at 140 pounds and Laila Ali was 160. Like, how?
Check out the receipts, guys. Check out the receipts. She said she wore 140 pounds when this girl clearly wore 159 pounds.
How are you making matches like that? So Laila Ali is a hater. That's it. Nothing but her being a hater and her being, envious of my success and what I've done for women's boxing. And she feels like she deserves that credit because everybody kind of give it to me now. And I think that she's like, but, I'm Muhammad Ali's daughter, and I boxed before her, and I'm 24-0 with 21 knockouts, and she kind of, want people to keep acknowledging her. She's retired.
She's retired.
And
She's
been
probably
retired for a long time.
43.
I hate when somebody else try to take somebody else's shine, somebody else's attention. It's like she's, nobody was trying to take her attention when it was her time. Undisputed champion. She's never been undisputed. And people are comparing me to her, and she gets offended. When it was like, to me, I thought it was a good comparison because I feel like I box way better than her. And for them to be saying that me and her are equal or whatever, she should have been happy because of that, because they're giving her more props on her skills, which I feel like she didn't really have that much. But, whatever. Yeah, we had Laila Ali. Respect. But she can't do for women's boxing what I'm doing. I'm going to be different because I'm going to give my blessing, or I'm going to let a girl take her blessing. And what that means, I'm going to fight the girls coming up. And if they beat me, now they're the best. That's how you do it. My advice, Laila, is you will look a lot better, and people will stop calling you a hater and calling you jealous and old and bitter. If you actually stop hating, bro, you will look.
Well, where are all these people calling Layla a hater? Because I haven't heard any of that. All I've heard so far is you hating on Layla.
Better if you was to support the black girl from Flint who made it out the trenches to where she at now. You will look a lot better. She wants to try to make it still seem like she's somewhat relevant in women's boxing. When people give her props about how she built up women's boxing, and I just don't feel the same way. What really did you do for women's boxing? Like, you let it die. You let it die for 20 years, and then I had to come and put in all this extra work to get it to where it is now. I think that wasn't fair, and I don't think that she was as big as a pioneer in women's boxing as she thinks she was. Because I would never do that. I would pass the torch.
There are hundreds and hundreds of women who have participated in the sport of boxing over the years. They have all made a contribution in their own way. We don't need to argue over who's done more. That destructive crab in a barrel mentality is exactly what we don't need in the sport. Here she is on a recent podcast explaining how she's passing the torch and that she has created a blueprint for success, which she is now sharing with other female fighters. She says that the #1 thing they need to know is how to build their brand.
I actually promote a woman fighter, and I'm giving her all the jewels and stuff that I know so she can get her big paydays too. It's a blueprint now on how you make $1 million, even if you don't have the gold medals. The biggest blueprint is build your brand.
Oh, she must have forgot years ago she recorded this and said that I gave her the piece of advice that she is now referring to as the most valuable piece of information that you need to be successful. But supposedly I didn't support her and I didn't want to pass the torch.
Laila Ali told me to build my brand, a good brand, and a brand that I want to represent and stand for. And she said, have good people behind me who I trust.
So this whole idea that she started about me being jealous because of her accolades and her surpassing me, do you realize that for years, fans have believed that there's so many fighters that are better than me? I mean, they have more titles than me. Multi-million-dollar fights are happening, more money than I ever made, more money than she's making. So I guess if I'm supposedly jealous of her, I must be hating on them too, right? Nope, I actually celebrate other women's success. I have relationships with those women. We have mutual respect. It's all love. She's the only one who decided to make herself my opposition. And she has created this drama and she's kept it going for the past 8 years. People came to know her because she kept calling out my name. She's obsessed with me and she literally...
Oh, she been obsessing and stalking Layla for 8 freaking years. Hi, bitch.
Cannot keep the name Laila Ali out her mouth. There are people who will say, she's confident, she talks trash. That's what fighters do. Yes, fighters talk. Nobody did it better than my father and me, and we backed it up. I've never had a problem with a fighter saying they could beat me or that they think they're better than me. That's expected. I don't consider that disrespect. But what I do have a problem with is a liar or someone who intentionally tries to disparage me in order to gain visibility and respect. As I mentioned in my interview on Sway, about 8 years ago, I offered her sparring during one of our phone conversations. I was like 40, 41. It was just to give her some work. Well, she changed that subject and never took me up on the sparring. So when I mentioned it on Sway, there was a lot of comments from the public because people were surprised that she wouldn't have taken that opportunity. Now, can you imagine if she and I were to get in the ring and spar back then? You know, there would have been camera phones, it would have been recorded. She would have proof of what she could do and vice versa. So I guess after the feedback and comments that she saw, she felt the need to take it to social media and put out an excuse.
On Sway that if I was so tough that I would have sparred her for brownie points. I am a 2-time Olympic champ. Only thing that matters to me is what happened outside of practice. She talking about practice. Take the Ella, you talking about practice? I don't care about sparring nobody. I'll get in there and spar and work with anybody. All I care about is fighting. But like I said, she don't really care about women's boxing.
So that was her response. Why sparring? It doesn't mean anything. But many years later, she comes up with a whole new story.
And the thing is, she keeps saying, one time she asked me to spar. Let me tell you this. Jason Crutchfield was my eyes and my ears back then because I was naive. I don't pay attention to stuff. Jason had already told me back then she feels some type of way. Coming in, gold medals and doing your thing, he was like, she feels some type of way. But she's still embracing you though. And I said, okay, whatever. But I had mad love for her though. So it was like, the closest thing to Muhammad Ali is Laila Ali. So I love this girl, you know what I'm saying? And looked into her, took her advice and everything. He said, when we going down here, because she had appointed me to give Muhammad Ali the Liberty Medal in Philadelphia. Now that when she asked me to spar, I said, you want to spar me? And that's when it was more of like a, dang, I hate that coach was right about you. I'm like, okay, well, wow. We can spar when you want to spar. I got my stuff in the car. She like, no, it ain't like that. I'm more about, let's not talk about it, let's be about it.
Now, you know that was a flat out lie. We know that if that were true, she would have said it years ago when it first was mentioned that she wouldn't spar me. There is absolutely no way she would have passed up the chance to tell everyone that she called my bluff and I backed down. Now, can you imagine if she and I were to get in the ring and spar back then? You know, there would have been camera phones, it would have been recorded. She would have proof of what she could do and vice versa. I did an interview with Andre for his podcast too, before I had a chance to see her episode. And if you go watch her interview, everything's I think this, somebody told me that, no facts. I need you to understand how deep this goes with this girl. Now I know she's on a constant search for validation. She needs to feel important, and it's obvious she's fixated on me. But watch how she sits on The Breakfast Club, the same show she saw me on back in 2018 when I said I wasn't making a comeback. She goes on in 2020 after dragging my name for years and acts like she has no idea why I no longer support her or want anything to do with her. Now, she knows The Breakfast Club is a national show with millions of listeners, so she's careful not to say anything negative about me because that wouldn't fit the story she's trying to sell. Instead, she plays it safe so she can position herself as the victim.
Do I want to fight a 41 or 40-year-old Laila Ali? No. I want to actually her embrace me, I embrace her, and we build women's boxing to the place where it's supposed to be at. But I don't think she sees that vision. Like she doesn't show me any kind of support. Like I see her all the time comment on this other boxer girl page, Katie Taylor.
So is that it? She doesn't want to fight Laila. She wants to be Laila's friend. She wants them to collab together and work together. Okay, now it makes sense.
And always telling her congrats and everything. But then with me, it's like she don't show any kind of respect or acknowledgement. And I'm a black girl just like she is, who came up hard, and I have to been making my way forever. Like I made my own way. I wasn't handed anything. Just about supporting each other. You know what I'm saying? But
I wonder why she wouldn't though. Like, did you say something about her back in the day?
I just think that in boxing, she feel like she never got her fair share. I feel like she never got to the point where she wanted to get to, and people recognize Laila Ali, but they always try to say like, oh, she only was big because of her dad, and they don't really give her props on her skills. I'm not one of those people. And then some people say that she didn't fight Ann Wolf, but me being a woman fighter, now I realize that it's hard to make big fights with other big women. It really is. So think about it. Back then, when it wasn't a lot of money, wasn't TV exposure, I kind of can see why her and Ann Wolf didn't fight, but people's story is that she was scared of Ann Wolf and Ann Wolf would have knocked her out. And that's their story.
3 months later, she takes her mask off and she's back to her usual story.
Well, Ann Wolf, you were a better fighter than her. And I believe that that's where this whole beef started from. That, you know, I spoke on that. She hates whenever your name gets mentioned. She still to this day mentions your name. Say how you were scared of her, how you didn't want to fight her. And I don't believe that for 1 second. And she may have a bigger name, but that's because women's boxing wasn't supported how we are now. If Laila Ali came up in this generation, she would not be known. Nobody would know of her. I know for a fact you would have put Laila Ali ass to sleep. So just because you couldn't do it, you know, you didn't have the opportunity because, you know, she didn't want to sign a paper to fight you. I'm letting you know now. I'm going to kick her ass for the both of us. Yeah, we all know Laila Dudley and Wolf. We know that. We don't got to. She know that. Everybody know that. It's literally written, I think, somewhere.
Now, I've seen this before with Ann Wolf, another fighter who used the same playbook.
Both of these women have a lot in common in terms of the way they've been able to get visibility for themselves by using my name and making up lies.
Since I'm in the season of pulling skirts, I'm gonna go ahead and pull hers too. And I'm gonna do another video on her next. That lie that I would not fight her has been told so many times as if it's a true fact. So I'll be gathering my receipts on her too, since she wants to start talking again. This one is so detached and delusional that she actually praises my father while trying to trash his daughter.
Yeah, we had Laila Ali, but she can't do for women's boxing what I'm doing. Because I kind of feel like God wants me to be like the next Muhammad Ali. Because I kind of feel like God wants me to be like the next Muhammad Ali. I think it's Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, me. That's it. Learn from Muhammad Ali. If you don't validate yourself first, nobody else ever will. You know, if she wants to be like in the public and keep her name tied to mine because I'm young and popping. Right now, it's my time. And she wants to keep her name connected to mine. Listen, Muhammad Ali would never. Her daddy would never.
I want to keep my daddy name out your MFing mouth.
Her daddy would never. Maybe she don't have that in her genes.
Now, what father would embrace someone like her or want to be associated with someone like her while she's trying to tear down his very own child?
My father was the greatest of all time because not only did he have a beautiful, one-of-a-kind style in the ring, he was also a remarkable individual outside of it. He used his platform to uplift and inspire people. He carried himself with integrity, kindness, and grace. He was someone our community could be proud of, and he represented us well.
You know what my father would say? She's a generic wannabe. My father would not want to share his name or image with her. She does not represent anything about him in the ring or outside of the ring. Now, many of us, including myself, had high hopes for her. I supported her. I sent her off in the right direction, but she has become a disappointment. She is a horrible representation of both the sport and our culture.
Beneficial. Fuck them if they win against you. You don't need some bitches with you. Her man ain't got no balls, so you know his dick little. Not them fake hoes, do it for the real women. I ain't fucked this nigga 2 years, still bitching. Girls who think they just so pretty, and just because they born light skinned that they just all that. That they can come up with shit, talking shit. I look better than you. I look better than you, so you can get off my shit. Light skin, red bone. Yeah, get your funny looking ass up out of here. I don't play with these hoes.
You have a clear picture of what our relationship was and what exactly happened in the past that led to today. Now, do you believe I'm jealous of her accomplishments? So in part 2, I'm going to discuss that $15 million offer and finally answer the question everyone wants to know. Will I be coming back to boxing to get that knockout? If you want to know when part 2 drops, turn on your notifications.
Ooh-wee. Boy. Layla Lynn, she cleared the house. OMG. Now, this is what I want to ask you guys. Now, do you think that these men in these interviews created the beef between these two women? Because men have a way of pitting women against each other. Now, it's definitely clear that Clarissa is jealous of Layla, but I also feel like when they both went on these interviews, that these men also played a part and pitting these two black women together. That's what men love to do. They do it all the time. Now, I'm not saying that they wouldn't have had beef because clearly Clarissa wants to take Layla's spot. That's clear. There's no mistake about that. But I still feel like these men in these interviews, like every single interview that Clarissa did, they always brought up Layla Ali's name and vice versa. Every interview that Layla did, they brought up Clarissa name. And most of these interviews that Layla Ali did, she was doing it to promote other ventures like her cooking. So it wasn't even really about boxing. And I get it. Boxing is always going to come up when we're talking about, we're talking to Layla Ali. But, this girl can't even go and promote her other businesses without them bringing up boxing and bringing up Clarissa. And Cece said, Layla sure did clear up the lies. Clarissa needs to go sit down somewhere. When I tell you that Layla brought all the receipts, OMG. Like, I don't even think that Layla had this in her because we've never seen her in any drama. We've never seen her being messy or in any type of mess. But baby, honey, she has been collecting all of her receipts on Clarissa, I guess, over the last 8 years. And maybe she held out because maybe she thought that at some point Clarissa would just go away. But people like Clarissa, they don't go away. So at some point, you got to check their ass. And it's just that simple. So I'm glad that Layla finally came out to check Clarissa, who has been lying on her and using her name for clout for the last 8 years, according to Layla. Like, wow. Like, I don't think I would have been able to just ignore her for 8 years. I would have had to call her out a long time ago. But that just goes to show you how classy Layla is, you know, and how her brand and her name is so important to her. Her brand and her name is so important to her that she didn't even want to address Clarissa on her Instagram, on her platform that she's built and her brand. So she created a YouTube channel just so that she can address Clarissa. So that says a lot about her because Clarissa, you know, she'll go live in her car, looking a hot mess. I mean, wherever she is, she'll just say whatever and do whatever. She is so trashy and she has no class about her. And even though she wants us to believe that she took Layla's advice and she's working on her brand and it's all about the brand, but you're out here looking like a stripper boxer. Like, I mean, you don't even fit the profile of a boxer. So if she would have played her cards right, everything she wanted from Layla, she probably could have gotten. They probably could have collabed and really did some great things, in the boxing world. But no, women always have to ruin it by being jealous. Like, women could go so far if they learn how to be a team player. But for whatever reason, women can't do that. We have to go against each other instead of working together. And I just wish in a perfect world that women could just learn how to work together so that we can all get to the bag. But that's never going to happen. Yes, CC, she's a stripper boxer. You didn't see that outfit she had on, CC? She looked a hot mess. Like, I mean, every time I've seen Layla, she's just been so classy, so professional, so beautiful. And I think one of the biggest things that really intimidates Clarissa about Layla is her confidence. Clarissa just don't have that confidence. I mean, she thinks she has it, but she just don't. Like Layla said, Just because you say you're the best doesn't mean you really are the best. Clarissa just be talking, okay? And at the end of the day, Layla is kind of like from a different time, and she decided, I mean, she's a married woman and she just got a lot of things going on, but she is going to make a big announcement. So I know we're all going to be tuned in to see if she really is going to come out of retirement. But this is something that I can guarantee you guys. She's never going to fight Clarissa. She already said it. She said my dad would not want to mix our name with somebody like that. So that tells me she might come out of retirement to fight, but it's not going to be with Clarissa. Like, she doesn't even want to muddy up the waters. They have a household name. Like, she's not trying to mess that up. So I get it. And honestly, if I were her, I wouldn't fight her either. Because even if she wins the fight against Clarissa gonna come out with all of these lies. Oh, you know, the fight was rigged. Oh, this, that, and the other. She's going to come out with some more lies and some more excuses. So why even go there? She's messy. Like, I wouldn't even bother. Just let her keep running her mouth while you keep being great and beautiful and classy. And if she decides that she wants to come out of retirement, personally, if I were her, I wouldn't. Because what people fail to realize, when you're a professional athlete, boxer, whatever the case may be, yeah, you make a lot of money, but the repercussions, the head injuries, the dementia, like as an insurance broker, I have sat with professional basketball players, football players, and those people, their health is so bad, they can't even enjoy their retirement. Who wants to live like that? Once you've made a name for yourself and you've retired, you don't come back to lose or to possibly get an injury that you can't bounce back from. Because as you get older, you don't recover as quick. So honestly, I think she's being smart about being retired. And honestly, somebody like Clarissa could not get me to come out of retirement. And Cece said, I don't think she should deal with Clarissa either. Clarissa acts like simple black female stalker. Exactly. Like, you are literally using this lady's name for clout. And she has been quiet for 8 years after everything, all of these great things that she said about Clarissa. For her to, come for her in the manner that she has over all these years, it's really sickening and stalkerish and weird as fuck, okay? If we're being honest. But hey, we've gotten a chance to really see exactly who Clarissa is. And Layla said it without saying it when she spoke about the brand. Being with a married man, that's not good for your brand, Clarissa. That's what she's trying to tell you. That's why she, posted that picture of you looking like a boxer stripper. Yes, Cece, a boxer stripper. That's what she's looking like. So, I mean, she gave her some great advice, but she just didn't take it. So Layla has did her part. She don't owe that woman nothing. And that's another reason why she mad, because Layla cut her off. She's mad because Layla cut her off after everything she did for her. You got the nerve to be out here, trying to tarnish me and my daddy's name. Okay. Yeah, she cut her off. But guys, that's going to be the end of this video. Wow. I'm just like, I just can't believe that Clarissa has really been out here lying on these social media platforms for 8 years. Like, that's so ridiculous. And Layla didn't give it a time of day. But at some point, you have to address the lies, okay? Because people get so comfortable because you're not addressing the lies, and they keep going and going and going, and the lies get bigger and bigger and bigger. So again, I'm glad Layla finally came out to address her for speaking on her and her daddy's name and their legacy. And yeah, that's going to be it, guys. If you did not like the video on your way in, please like the video on your way out. And if you just happen to be catching the replay, please like the video and subscribe to the channel and drop down in the comments so that we can keep this conversation going. And guys, just so you know, if you ever catch me after 5, you're going to get a different version of me, okay? Because I'm not at work, because I do have a full-time job, so I'm not at work. So yeah, you're going to get me a little lit. You're going to probably catch me while I'm having a drink like I am now. So you're going to get that version of me. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And bye for now.